Hey, it's Ethan here at Etrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install these Glacier Chain cable snow tire chains on our 2022 Nissan Frontier. These are going to be on tire size 265/65 R17. Make sure you check the fit guide at Etrailer to find the right fit for your tire. Also, we have them on the rear tire as per the owner's manual. Always make sure you double check that as well to get the chains on the right tire. These chains are going to be sort of an emergency case only type of chains. They're still going to work, but they do have some drawbacks that we'll get into in the video. They're going to be really useful for you if you're just passing through states that have chain requirement laws, or you're in an area that gets maybe just a little bit of light snow very once in a while, and you do need chains for those occasions. So let's check them out. The chains are in a ladder pattern, which means they go straight across the tire parallel to one another all the way around. So that's typically going to give you more help when you're starting and stopping, and you're going to feel them more than you would a diamond pattern chain. But because these are that roller style and they just have these rollers that go along the cable, they're definitely going to feel those a lot less than you would traditional square link chains in a ladder pattern style. The chains are made of a low carbon steel, so they're not going to hold up quite as well over long periods of time as a lot of the alloy chains that we also offer, which is just another reason that these are sort of just emergency case only chains. The chains, because they are so low profile, do meet Class S compatibility standards, which is what the owner's manual for this car recommends, which basically just means if you have limited wheel well clearance, the chains will work anyway without making contact with anything back here. We haven't found clearance to be an issue with any of the other chains that we've tested, but these do meet that compatibility standard, which is recommended in the manual, so that's a benefit to using these. There's not a whole lot to the chains. There's two connections, one in the back and one on the front, that involves levering this arm back over towards the other side. So that's the tension that you're able to get in the chains. So we definitely recommend picking up one of these rubber tensioners as well if you're going to use these chains, just to keep everything secure and keep constantly applying that while you're driving. Also, the chains do come two to a set. They come in this pretty lightweight plastic bag. It's honestly really difficult once you get these out to roll them back up and fit them in the same bag. So if you do get these chains, again, we also recommend maybe picking up something bigger, larger to keep them in, like a plastic tote. Something that's going to be easier for you to just roll them up and put them in than it would be to try to fit them back in that bag, because we do have a ton of difficulty with that when we do it. As far as the install goes, like I mentioned, it is just a couple connections, and you could technically roll up onto them if you wanted to, but we just like to go around the backside underneath and make the connection there. So if you do want to do that, we do recommend trying it out beforehand in your garage or somewhere safe before you find yourself stranded on the side of the road trying to figure out how they work. You can check out how we did it though right now. To start the install process, the first thing we like to do is lay the chains out flat. We just want to make sure that nothing is caught up, twisted, tangled, anything like that. We want to make sure that we have this lever on the side facing us, because we will have to interact with that after we make our first connection, and we want to make sure the chains are facing the right way. To do that, we use these hoops at the end of each set of cables. In this case, you can probably see it's got this clip on it that holds it in place. We want to make sure that this part where it connects is not touching the tread of the tire. We'd rather have the side where it's flat and flush making contact with the tire instead. Once we have that all figured out, we can drape the chains over the tire. Just grab a couple of them in the back and try to spread everything out as evenly as you can, front to back and side to side. Just want to make sure that we get enough length on either side and front and behind the tire for our connections. On the back side, what we're going to do is feed one of these studs through this eyelet on this catch plate on the other side. For our case, maybe we'll try to go with 4. That seems like a pretty good start. And if we want to, we can put some of this excess in one of these red clips behind here. And just slide it into place like that so it gets out of the way. On the front side, it's going to be a very similar process. We're going to start by feeding one of these studs, or rather all of the studs, through this catch plate. Again, I think we're going to go for about 4 till we get a nice fit. And then we're going to lever this arm backwards towards the side that it starts on, and we'll feed it into the cable. Depending on the angle that you end up coming in, this part can be a little bit tricky, but we got it in place. And now if you have enough excess, you can fit it into one of these links again. In our case, I don't think I'm going to be able to get around this hook at the same time, so I'm just going to kind of let it be for now. With the connections in place, now we'll get this rubber tensioner set up. It doesn't come with the chains, but we recommend using it. You'll just install it hook side out, just similar to how you would install a tire, going from top to bottom, left to right, trying to spread it out as evenly as you can, because whenever we're bumping along the road, on ice and snow. The chains are going to shift after a certain period of time, and this is just going to be a good way to help keep them secure and keep tension applied constantly. Once we have the tensioner and the chains installed, make sure you get them installed on your passenger side tire as well. We recommend rolling forward just a few feet forwards or backwards to make sure everything stays in place and is secure, and then you're ready to go. Overall, like I mentioned a few times, these chains are going to be really useful if you live in an area or you're driving through an area where you're required to have chains in your car, because just overall the build quality of these isn't that strong. That low carbon steel isn't going to last super long, and they don't have a ton of bite into the ice and snow with those cable styles. So if you do need something with a little bit more bite or longevity, you check out something from Koenig. They have diamond patterned self or assisted tensioning chains, which are super easy to install, and they're going to last for a long time. Or you could upgrade even more to some of PWAG's larger links. They have square twist links as well, which are going to give you more bite into ice and snow than these will. But again, if you just need chains to have in your car, you're traveling through an area or you live in an area where you need them, they're still a great option. This again was just a look at the Glacier Chain cable snow tire chains and how they fit on our 2022 Nissan Frontier.